Hiya, welcome to my Compound Life. I'm your host, Jonathan. This is a channel where we build assets, we build great habits to manage all of our assets, and of course, we build freedom that should really be financial freedom, time freedom for you, me, and anyone else that watches my channel. Good day. Yes, I'm in my driving scenario, so it's a Bitcoin video. I want to chat about Bitcoin. So if you haven't subscribed, please hit the like, hit subscribe. Even if you don't like me, even if you don't like my content, please help me out. I'm a small content creator. I'm really, it will be good if we can spread more of the words out, specifically on the matter of Bitcoin. Okay. What I want to cover today, right? What I want to cover today, because there are so much hype right now. They are talking about Bitcoin super cycle. Okay, I cover this almost on a daily basis. Like hopium of the day, Standard Chartered, saying that Bitcoin will be going to 150,000 by this year. And then go up to about 500,000 by year 2030. You get Tom Lee still constantly on CNBC saying that Bitcoin is gonna it's entering a super cycle this year. It's followed the ISM business cycle, yada yada yada. Arthur Hayes, the same. ZZ, the same, talking about Bitcoin entering a super cycle. Even BlackRock, right? So, I mean, everyone talks about super cycle. Does it mean it will enter that super cycle, right? I used to be in that situation. When I first got into Bitcoin, all of this bullish news, bullish speculation of price action, you just end up, oh man, if I've got this amount of Bitcoin and then Bitcoin hit this amount of, tops, this is what what I'll be making, right? And then you hodl, you constantly just hold on to your Bitcoin. And then when there are enough signals to say that, hey, we're going into a bearish situation, right? I used to ignore all of this. I would just, pay so much attention into what Michael Saylor will be saying, what Tom Lee will be saying, and just, treat that as kind of like the North Stars on when to get out. But trust me, guys, I just want to make sure that, you guys, all of us, follow through certain protocol and doesn't fall into that trap. Okay, because when the media, when everyone are also talking about Bitcoin heading to another all-time high, this is where we need to be extremely careful, right? Likelihood at the current pacing of where we are now for Bitcoin, at the rhythm of how Bitcoin usually progresses for the past at least for the past 3 cycles, so we're kind of in the 4th cycle. Bitcoin right now is heading towards a bear market. Okay, and if that's the case, if there is a super cycle, which I hope there will be, right? Which I certainly hope there will be, that will be good. I've still got some Bitcoin in my swing bag, right? I never sell my hodl bag, guys. Never ever sell your Bitcoin hodl bag, except you can sell your swing bag whenever it reaches certain high. And of course, you need to make sure you take profits. Okay, so I think the whole video right now is just be cautious, right? Because I have a few friends are asking me, hey Jonathan, is it time to enter for Bitcoin, right? Because the super cycle will be starting anytime soon, and I don't want to miss the super cycle, right? And the only advice that I can give them will be, will there genuinely be a super cycle? right? Because now it seems to me 60-70% probability we are heading to a bear market, right? Would you want to risk, let's say, if there is a super cycle, if Bitcoin can get back to another all-time high from 92,000 to about 126,000, potentially you can make 36%, right? Even if I do say that there can be a elongated Bitcoin cycle that run until 2026 that follows the business cycle for ISM, and at the same time, there will be some form of quantitative easing onto Bitcoin, that it might be worth the while to invest in Bitcoin, but the high that it can probably get to will be $150,000 per Bitcoin. Okay, so 92K right now to 150,000, that's only a 63% gain, right? So you are essentially gaining between 36% to 63%, and you are risking the fact that 60-70% we are heading downwards, right, to a bear market. And is that risk, is that risk justifiable, right? So personally speaking, I perhaps that's me. So perhaps I have been exposed to Bitcoin and I have got a decent amount of exposure. So that's why my take is I'm not really exiting now or buying, right? In fact, I'm trying to exit my other positions, right? My other assets, so that I'm kind of preparing for myself to re-enter again towards the end of year, right? And if we kind of look at the possibility that if Bitcoin further drops, right? So currently it's around 92,000. If it further drops to around 85,000, right? So for 85,000 to get back to 126,000, not too much, maybe 48%, right? However, for 85,000 to get to 250,000, that's a very likelihood that Bitcoin can potentially get to in the next cycle. That would give you 194%, right? So rather than FOMO in, I might be able to get a parking slot. Let me just maneuver my car. I'm getting excited. Been waiting ages for a space. So rather than waiting, no, she's not me. Are you going out? Oh, great. Great, I got a slot. I can finally park my car. Thank you. Yeah, so rather than you FOMO in right now, where we are essentially just, 10 months away or 11 months away from the next Bitcoin accumulation zone. So usually 12 months, it's all it takes for Bitcoin to get to a bear market from its all-time high. So the recent all-time high, FYI, if this is the first time you're watching my video, so the recent all-time high, it's sometime October the 8th. So that was when Bitcoin was 126,000, right? So if it takes approximately 12 months for Bitcoin to get to the bottom, so that means the next accumulation time will probably, that would be like the time that you can get Bitcoin at its cheapest, right? So if that's the timing, right? Imagine if Bitcoin gets to about 71,000. So let's say the next cycle, Bitcoin, the top can potentially get to about 250,000. I'm just thinking out loud, right? So for Bitcoin to further drop to about 71,000, right? 71,000 to 250,000 USD per Bitcoin, you're gaining approximately 252% gain. And if Bitcoin further drops to about $50,000 per Bitcoin, $55,000 per Bitcoin, let's say, and then 55,000 getting to about $250,000 worth of Bitcoin, guys, that's like 354% gain, right? And all I'm saying that, you know what, just hodl your cash, liquidate as much as you can, or as much as you feel comfortable with, right? Because FYI, this is like my third cycle. The more cycle that I've been through, right? And the more I studied Bitcoin, I can definitely see the adoption level. It's come to a scale that is beyond what you guys can imagine right now, okay? And the supply shock will essentially push Bitcoin price much further, although it does certainly feel that it's being suppressed right now. And yeah, so I hope, you know, through making this kind of small video, you guys can get the gist and not to FOMO into asset, right? Understand that, you know, there are a lot of things that are setting up Bitcoin right now. You know, the midterm is coming. There is always a saying that, you know, during midterm, eventually there will be a rally in terms of the whole market. You know, there will be a crypto rally, there will be equity markets rally, etc. But guys, look at the equity market now. Without midterm, it's already performing really well, right? S&P 500, NASDAQ, everything pump, gold, silver, everything pump, right? How much more further can it pump, right? If you have enough exposure into all of this asset, right? Maybe taking profits soon, not now, but soon, probably makes sense. And position yourself into cash makes even more sense, right? So that you can re-enter when Bitcoin is going through the bear market. I mean, we are going through a bear market. You know, you position yourself and re-enter at the bottom of the bear market, right? So yeah, that's what I want to talk about. So not to FOMO in, but really consider like the situation, because a lot of people, they buy, but they never quite know when to exit, right? And there's some people, my friends would just ask me, let me know when you buy, let me know when you exit. I mean, yeah, sure, of course. But having said that, I kind of buy on a DCA basis, and I kind of exit on a pound cost average basis, right? How do I tell them? Yeah, I've bought like $50 Bitcoin today. Oh, because it dipped, you know, I just chuck in $200, right? So yeah, I think bear in mind that, you know, I think Bitcoin, it's a no-brainer. It's so easy. You just DCA if you don't like volatility, you don't like looking at charts, or just buy at the bottom. Buy at the bottom, and the bottom usually gets marked about 1 year after the all-time high, or buy the bottom 500 days before the Bitcoin next halving event. That will be the best time to enter. Okay, so if you like my content, please drop a like, hit subscribe. Let me know who you are. Let me know where you guys watching from. Okay, love to hear from all of you guys. Okay, that's it. I'll see you soon. Chat later. Bye.